Good ladies, afternoon, and gentlemen, and welcome to the www.callyourmate.com pub test podcast. This is a test, everyone. Please understand this will be uploaded to YouTube. The link will be available on www.callyourmate.com under the page of pub test. For all you fellas out there, that page hasn't been set up yet, but it is going to be very, very shortly. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually up there tonight. Righto. So what are we going to talk about? On the pub test, eventually we're going to go around to pubs on just matters of what's happening in the world, and we're going to give it the pub test. Hence why we're doing a mobile camera here. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of live stuff in the studio where we're talking to you from now. Didn't set the timer, gonna do it now. What we'll be doing is eventually going around the pubs with the camera and just one topic and just asking the average Joe Blow on the street what he actually thinks about that topic, right? And that's going to be the pub test. We'll have a little bit of time in the studio too, where myself and Diane will just have some forward and backwards. We're going to have some actual forwards and backwards banter. People who know me, I'm a bit of a loose unit. I don't actually tell people how educated I am, but I do have a very formal education. Diane is a practicing solicitor or lawyer, and extremely knowledgeable, and definitely polar opposite to me. Okay, I've known Diane. We both were in a volunteer organisation for a few years together where we actually became pretty close friends. But her and a boyfriend moved over to Townsville when he relocated over there to work for Adani. But she will be flying in and out of here once a month, so we'll be able to get together and do the podcast. Anyway, so we've got, I forget how many minutes we've got here, but I'm going to keep going until it beeps on my watch here. One topic that really shits every person, and like, we're coming up to Australia Day soon, so I can guarantee we're going to start seeing this on what are we going to call Invasion Day or Australia Day. Mark my words. But one thing that has been common in Queensland for the last umpteen years has been youth crime. This is something that I feel extremely strong about. Long-term people who have known me for a long time, well, will know that I've had 2 attempts at Queensland state politics and 1 attempt at federal politics. So this matter has been going on for a minimum of 9 years now, where the juvenile justice system in Queensland, whether or not it happens in other states, that's totally up to the other states. But what goes on when kids are under a certain age, I am going to say 15 to 16. Someone will correct me, I understand that. But let's just say juveniles can't be held accountable for their crimes. So they can go out and steal a vehicle or break into a house. Police can actually capture them and go into lockup overnight. The next day, there will be an emergency court hearing. And where, because they are underage, they will just be released back into the general public again for them to freely commit whatever crimes they want to commit the following night. Now, as I said, this has been going on now. I'm not reading the comments down here. I'm focusing on this camera. What's happened? The politicians have just constantly thrown more money at it. No one's actually come up with a decent idea. Now, in my first attempt at politics at a public debate, I actually just said, I knew I wasn't going to win, so I can't be any more unpopular, right? I actually said that all the police need to do is just shoot 3 people. If the police, just honest to goodness, stop. And if they keep on walking away and evading arrest, booshka. They only have to do that to 3 people. And people will then start to understand, fuck, these cunts are fucking serious, right? But we can't do that. Now, every party, every politician has had their views on youth crime, and ultimately it comes down to throw more money out of it. Now, there was a news story. There was a news story here about Mount Isa about 3 months ago, And one of the charitable foundations whose job it is to engage the youth, the misguided youth, their job, that they got refunded to the tune, wait for it, $20 million annually. 20 million. And that is just one of the organisations that are in this town that are meant to engage with the youth. Now, there's 5 other of them in town, definitely another 4 of them in town, and there is another one run by the PCYC. Now, the PCYC has had a 95% success rate in the kids that they have engaged with, right? 95%. And when I was talking to the lady who runs that, there's been one kid who has reoffended. One, right? So that means they've had 60 odd kids go through their whatever you want to call it, their you can't say treatment, their program, let's just call it. They've had so many kids go through their program and they've had one who has reoffended. One. Now, that doesn't come into the $50 million that is paid to the organisations in Mount Isa. That's not taking Townsville or anything into consideration. That is coming into Mount Isa, $50 million of government funding coming into Mount Isa to engage with the youth. Right. If we had one Prado stolen every night for every day of the year, and written off, 100% written off, and we'll say that that's $100,000, right? That's only $3 million. So if my Prado got stolen and the government gave me a new car to compensate me for the car that was stolen by the reoffending youth, it would actually be cheaper on our fucking taxes. It's simple fucking math. It is cheaper to buy people a new car than what it is to try to re-engage these children. But going down that route, yeah, I'll get back onto you. Just in case, I'll address all them comments down here because we're just doing a 10-minute monologue. But what we need to do, kids get caught doing the crime. Okay, we're on to that. Kids get caught doing a crime. Go to court. Now, the court lets them walk. They are not held. They just walk. They are not held into there is no one. They're not released to somebody to be responsible for them, right? They can't be released to mum and dad. No, they can't go to reprimand just in case. Because they're youth, they can't be locked up, right? They get released instantly as soon as they go through court. They can't be held. What needs to happen? Keep the laws exactly how they are. We can't blame the police because the police are actually catching these kids. What we need to do is catch the kids, lock up for the night, court the next day, and then they need to be released into the care of somebody who is responsible for them. Now, if the government are paying $50 million to engage with these youth, and their biggest complaint that they've got is that the kids won't engage with them. And I've said this before in a fucking 10-minute rant, is that they only work from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The kids who need the engagement work from 9 p.m. to 4 p.m. So all these organisations with all their courses and that they have set up and paid for and funded for, right, they aren't getting the throughput of children because the children aren't engaging with them. So they either need to change their hours of operation or forget doing what they're even trying to fucking do. Right. So when they go through court, they are then released into Care Organisation A. And then Care Organisation A are responsible for that child. Okay? And then the next one comes out and they go to care organisation B, C, D, A, B. So they are then legally responsible for that child if they reoffend. And then if they reoffend and they rip off another car, then institution A or institution B buy me the fucking car. Because I guarantee once you start hitting them institutions in the hip pocket, I will guarantee that they will start to engage with them children. That's my 2 cents worth, and that's what I reckon. So until then, hashtag call your mates. See a professional, have a heart, spread the shit around, and we'll go on to episode 2 at a later date.